Alright, what's up gamers? We got my last and final role guide for Season 7. Danziger rules coming out today, and this will be the final patch of the season. Today's role will be the most complicated of them all, the Jungler. Same disclaimer as always, as every time before, this is a guide based off of my experience, knowledge, and advice. It's not the one and only guide, take it as you will and get to learning. With all that being said, let's jump right into the final role guide of Season 7. So what is the Jungler? The Jungler is the guy who's running around the jungle, killing all the camps, dropping buffs, and ganking lanes. Usually it will be an assassin. He'll be jumping on the back line trying to take those 1v1s. You can go a bit more tanky, be more of a facilitator rather than the hyper carry, but general idea, you are in the jungle. You're not necessarily a backliner, more like a backline diver. So pre-game, before you even leave the fountain, there's not much to worry about. As in, you have everyone to worry about, so your relic choice will usually always just come down to blink beads. I like going blink first every time because, you got massive balls like that, but getting beads first is fine. Alright, laning phase, we have a lot to go over. So, your typical jungle route will be speed buff, to blue buff, to back camps, to mid, to red buff, to duo side back camps, and also be aware that back camps are on a faster timer than buff camps. So jungle is a complicated and multifaceted role. Not every decision is 100% correct, and putting one lane ahead may mean that another lane has to fall behind. This is not really an exact science on what is the best choice to do. Mainly you'll be focusing on getting XP by clearing those camps. Be aware that ganking does take time away from you farming and getting consistent XP. Keep track of timers on your camps as well so you can keep a good rotation going. Getting enemy camp timers is good as well. You can put the other team behind with constant invades and then will set your boys' levels ahead of their opponents. Some gods on solo lane, like Guan Yu, feel really bad without their buffs. Also, back camps are great to steal because they respawn so fast. Important note, this is very important as a jungler. Not every complaint is gonna be right and good to hear. In fact, a lot of criticisms are actually quite stupid. I've played near perfect jungle games and someone will still find a way to complain no matter what. If I'm a couple seconds late to their buff, well, there's something to complain about right there. You are a scapegoat for whenever someone falls behind or gets soloed. I played a ranked game the other day, where my solo laner got soloed at level 3 and my carry got soloed at level 5 when the support left. Blue's getting invaded, they're getting invaded on purple, everything's just going down, and I'm spending most of my laning phase trying to keep them from falling even more behind, which in hindsight was actually quite a bad decision. I should have just hyper farmed. But the point of this is, I wasn't ever able to get ahead because I was keeping them from free falling down because they couldn't handle the fact that they lost their 1v1. If I hyper farmed instead, they would have fallen further behind and they still would have been mad at me. This is a lesson on the fact that you are not going to please everyone. Someone is going to whine and be all mad and pissed off because they lost a fair fight or lost and it was all their fault. Most of the complaints on junglers aren't even that good, it's just the fact that whoever is complaining just wants to have a pretty stat line. In conclusion, mute people if they just start whining, it's not worth it. So basically, keep your head on a swivel, keep yourself farmed, gank when it's a good opportunity, and don't try and force things and try and be a people pleaser. Some lanes are just lost and it's not worth your time at all. Alright, team fighting and positioning as a bungler. As the bungler, you are going to be diving the backline in team fights. You're working in tandem with that solo laner to get some good picks and get those backliners out of the fight. You probably won't be too focused on peel and doing things like that. You and the solo laner are going to be greedy out there for kills. Good communication with your solo laner or a diving support will greatly increase your chances of success. You want to look for good trades. Most assassins should be winning 1v1s against most of the backliners. Late games on hunters and mages can definitely hurt, but using blink and getting the jump on them can win you the trade alone. Notice who's doing the most damage and impacting team fights the most. Try and target them and get them out of the fight as soon as you can. You also won't be focusing tanks as much, but you can lock them down and help kill them. Late game assassin 1v1s are right thing as well. When the game is well past late game, typically past 30 minutes, bunglers are going to start being able to take 1v1s against each other. You have to get good at winning these. These are quite hard to practice, however, because they're so rare, but it is invaluable getting good at them. Some assassins can also be good initiators. Some bunglers do it better because they are better facilitators than others, while some are better at just playing the cleanup crew. Objective play can really vary a lot of the time. Your damage is respectable to the objective, but you can also work with the solo laner to zone people away, or even get picks off if they try and contest or secure it. So sieging as a jungler, there are plenty of things that you can do during sieges based off of what the team needs, and if you're on offense or defense. So offense, this is where you can start your assassin 1v1s. The rest of your team fights over on one Phoenix, while you and the other bungler will 1v1 over a different one. It is hard to train for these, but it is going to be impactful, as it's pretty much a guaranteed Phoenix if you can win that 1v1. Otherwise, you'll be attacking the tower itself or helping your solo laner zone and kill people coming in. On defense, again, you have to be taking the 1v1s. If someone's split pushing, that is your job to go stop them. Other than that, you'll just be trying to kill backliners with your solo lane. Hunters are the most valuable to kill because they are the most objective DPS. Relic usage on junglers is quite simple most of the time. You're generally just always going to go blink beads. Being liberal with your blink isn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes it's just unfortunate. Sometimes you just have to take a shot. With beads, it is quite different though. If you don't have your beads up, CC heavy comps are going to be able to punish this quite easily, and if you're buying blink first, you have to be aware that you will not have CC immunity through your relics. So for assassin builds, jungler builds, nearly every assassin is going to be starting blessing and tier 1 mace or katana. Builds are also liable to change, they're very volatile, and sometimes they are just preference. So the entirety of the mace tree is pretty good. Titan's Bane is now pretty much an assassin specific item since it's just ob sharp for physicals, and I don't really recommend it that often. A couple of ability boys like Thor and Hoon bots will want Yoans instead of Crusher as their first item after boots, but this can be preferenced. Hydras on your auto attack cancelers like the Susanos of the world. Brawlers is always a good option, the anti-heal application is good. Trance is good depending on how the game is going, as getting it stacked is a lot of power, and some gods like Set or Bastet can get mana hungry during extended engagements. Bruiser items like Sledge and Void Shield are also really good, don't shy away from the mantles and Maggie's cloaks. And Heartseeker is just a very good item. If you are ability based, you will probably be buying Heartseeker. Auto attackers enjoy items like Serrated, Stone Cutting, Golden Blade for the early clear, although it's kind of fallen off if your name's not Bakasura. Kins is an almost automatic buy, and Atalantis is a solid option, especially for the pen. Heronite works well on a lot of gods, but it really depends on how their ult works. People like Set really don't like it because it activates after the ult is over, but people like Nem and Thor can get real good use out of it. So for god choice for junglers, usually basically all the assassins, some warriors can flex here, and the occasional mage such as the Ao Kuang or the Hebo is a pretty good choice. Usually just those two though, that's all I'd recommend. Kabrakan maybe. So there's usually a distinction between ability and auto attackers. There's also a distinction between hypercarries and facilitators. Auto attackers are almost exclusively hypercarries like Baka and Kali. They just want to farm up, get to late game, and decimate entire teams. Facilitators can build tanky and go for setup. This is stuff like the Naja and the Circuit, although they don't have to build this path. Some of the meta boys I've seen include Set, Nemesis, Thor, Hoonbots, and Erlong. Play what you want, but be aware of the meta as always. Alright, that's all I got, and with that, that will be my last role guide for Season 7. And the next time you'll see one of these is in Season 8, when we'll see the new changes. We got a lot of things coming up. A lot of old items, Death's Toll, everything coming back, so that'll be interesting to see how this guide changes, especially with the new Conquest map. Well, get out there gamers, I'll see you all in the next one.